Bucks second. So big test right out of the gate for the Lakers. Big game.
No question. And, they had a very successful road trip. I think this road trip is going to kind of validate where they really are. Talk about, Houston going through, mix up with Harden. And then we talked about, Oklahoma, a young, inexperienced team. I think San Antonio gave them a game. But now they're going up against, the best pedigree in the NBA. So, and you talk about the Greek Freak. He's one thing to worry about, but this team possesses a lot of problems. They got Middleton, Holiday. So they're well coached and they know how to play together. And they have a lot to prove, after being eliminated like they were last year. So it's going to be a big test starting tonight. And then, the rest of these teams are pretty good playoff teams as well.
Yeah, we've seen how good the Bucks are over the last 2 years in the regular season. They're off to a 9-5 start this year. The addition of Drew Holiday, as Big Game mentioned. Fish, how important as a player and a coach are these early season tests?
Well, it's a unique season. Mm-hmm. I think we have to take that into consideration. Like, this is a different early season than we've ever experienced in NBA history. So I think we still can, look at this game in its proper perspective. Both teams are still adjusting to new additions. Drew Holiday coming over to Milwaukee. Obviously, we talk about the Lakers additions every night. But I think both teams, both coaches have championship expectations. And so, therefore, when you play against certain level of competition, it's always going to be a barometer for where you are. Doesn't mean that's where you're going to finish, but I think both teams are looking forward to seeing where they are at this point in the season.
Good motivation for both teams
for sure.
As well. It's a game it's easy to get out for. All right, let's get you live to Lakers reporter Mike Trudell, who joins us from down the hall. Mike, the Lakers are playing 7 games in 12 days. It should be a fun one in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Geeter, I just realized I'm going to be in here until about February 2nd.
Yeah, you are.
Do you have a blanket or something, like an extra pillow?
We're going to get you all set up, buddy. Some mittens, all kinds of stuff. Scarf.
Oh, yeah.
Rent's due on the 1st, though, by the way. Don't be late.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, that's fine. I'd like to be on time. I'd like to be prompt. With that said, let's get to Frank Vogel for the day. And, Geeter, I just wondered, Milwaukee, you heard it in that earlier sound that Frank said. He keeps it the main thing. Like, he is focused just on what's going to happen in this Bucks game. So what is at the top of that list? Hint, it might have to do with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here's Frank Vogel a couple moments ago.
Well, probably number one thing is getting back in transition. They're a great fast-breaking team, and they've that's where they're most difficult to guard. Trying to contain Giannis by bringing 3 or 4 people in front of him without giving up threes because they're shooting the lights out from the perimeter. So that's at the top of scouting report for me.
The road has been kind to you so far, Frank. Is there anything that you've drawn from that in this particular season and all of the unique circumstances?
It's tough to put your finger on it. I think there's different reasons, why we've lost some home games, but had such success on the road. I think it's opponent-based, where we're at, in the schedule. A lot of the home losses have come after win streaks where, we maybe got a little complacent. And then you go on the road after a tough loss and, you're more motivated to get that W. So, one of those things that evens out over the course of the season.
Frank, the numbers on the starting lineup have been really good, exceptional kind of on both ends of the court. Just wondered what stood out to you the most about Mark and Dennis joining the 3 hangovers from last year.
Well, we play with great space. Mark at the 5 position, spacing the floor out there, but also giving us, a 7-foot center behind our defense. There's a lot of value in both of those elements that he brings to the table. KCP and Dennis bring great speed, defensively in particular, but both have the ability to get into the paint and punish the defense when double teams are brought to AD and LeBron. So and obviously any lineup with Bron and AD in there at the same time has been good for us.
Dave? Frank, LeBron's standard for any given game is pretty lofty. I wondered if in the time you've coached him, you've seen him take any external motivation into a game that you've noticed. Obviously, the storyline for this game being that Giannis won MVP last year when he was pretty clear to us that he felt like his case probably should have gotten more attention.
Yeah, I remember his comments after that. I don't know if that's on his mind tonight or not. You'd have to ask him. I know he and we all very much want to win this basketball game. We're not happy with how we played against Golden State, and I think that's the number one motivator for tonight's game.
All right, there's Frank Vogel. First of all, I meant holdovers, not hangovers. That was my bad there. Frank cleared it up. And Geeter, good news. I did find a pillow. It's in here, so
it's gonna be a long 7 games, Mike.
Yeah, so I'll be camped out here, man, but wouldn't want to be anywhere else. All right.
Yeah, you kiss the kids, kiss Andy goodbye, and tell them it's like a road trip. You'll see him on
Love
the second.
you guys.
All right, buddy, Mike Trudell, appreciate it. Possible NBA Finals preview coming up here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Lakers and Bucks, and that means a lot of people in Greece will be watching. Skyrocketing viewership. Love it. The Antetokounmpo brothers are in the building. We'll speak with Kostas about being the first of his brothers to win a ring. And coming up on Access, the Lakers are coming off a tough loss to the Warriors. D. Fish breaks down what went wrong for the Lake Show. Fish's Focus is next. No assists and got dominated in the paint. So the lights are flashing inside here. I know what time it is. It is time for Fish's Focus, and usually you're breaking down the good stuff, Fish, but it's time to break down what happened in that game. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, no, we have so much good stuff to break down because this team has played so well. But I'm going to go to the wall and focus on some things that didn't go so well against the Warriors the other night. The 0 assists in the fourth quarter stood out to me. And a lot of that is because of the standing here, right? Very stagnant offensively. Getting into more kind of isolation mid-post. The Warriors, Draymond does a great job of zoning up, loading defensively. This is a shot that KCP should shoot instinctively, no thought about it. And as you'll see as the clip goes on, sometimes when you pass up a really good shot, you end up with a worse shot, or in this case, a turnover, travel. You can see LeBron frustrated with KCP that he didn't take that shot initially. Led to a Lakers turnover in that possession. Here, the Lakers advancing. Ball gets to LeBron. Again, look at the standing. Of course, LeBron has the advantage on Looney, but against the Warriors, Draymond is always going to come low from the weak side. Warriors now in full rotation. Oubre rotates to Dennis here. Looney's going to rotate to AD. Now, Draymond runs LeBron off the three-point line, forces him to put it down. Another travel. Here, breakdown defensively, misses the layup. Dennis pushing, probing. You see the amount of time on the clock. Here we go. It's late. The clock is running. AD has the advantage, but with this amount of time on the clock, you may not have the time to get there. Alex should probably cut off the floor so that he can take Steph off of this nail. Not a great pass here. Frank Vogel ends up calling a timeout. They end up getting a pretty good shot from LeBron after that. I'm sure Frank wishes he had maybe burned that timeout a little sooner to save those guys. But as a coach, a lot of times you want your guys to be able to attack without that timeout because the defense isn't set yet. So, 0 assists, 4 turnovers, 22 points in the paint for the Warriors in the fourth quarter. Just not Lakers basketball.
Yeah, the 0 assists is that one really sticks out as well. But down the stretch, LeBron. You're just not used to it, right? A couple turnovers, couple missed shots, and it's the first loss in regulation of his career when he had a 10-point lead or more in the fourth quarter. He was 280-0. He's now 280-1. That's a crazy stat, but all good runs must come to an end.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't like to hear that if he was aware of that.
That's a crazy stat, though, right?
Yeah, but it just goes to show, you can't take it for granted. Lakers been playing well. They've been used to turning the switch on when they needed to, pour it on. You never can. I guess if you're a golfer, you learn that in golf. You never can take it for granted. You always got to be at the range. Do it over and over and over again, because every now and then you're going to have these stink ups where things don't work out the way they normally do, offensively or defensively. So, and when you have Steph Curry, down the stretch, he didn't shoot the ball that great earlier, but they had enough energy to keep them close, and then he closed it out.
You could tell that game slipping away. You can even tell by LeBron's reaction how frustrated he was at that time. Ball should have never been in his hands. KCP wide open in the corner. That's KCP's best shot.
Yeah, and a lot of times great players like LeBron, he's probably as frustrated with himself than
for sure
even his teammates, right? Because he's not been in that position before. And LeBron he does a fantastic job of managing his emotions, right? Keeping himself calm even when things are not going as well. So when you see that outwardly frustration from him, that lets you know that he's really worked up. Not a great second half, in particular fourth quarter, but adversity, it shows us who we really are. I think they'll do a good job of bouncing back.
I like seeing that emotion, personally. All right, straight ahead on Access, the Greek Freak may not have a ring, but his brother Kostas sure does. Up next, Mike Trudell goes one-on-one with the champ.